Ladies and gentlemen, we present a man who is a born leader with his chin. A man who knows nothing of fear, who knows nothing of caution, who knows nothing, period. But here, on his way to learn something from a numerologist, we find Fibber McGee and Molly.
Hey, here's the numerologist place right here, Molly. Must be up over this barber shop.
Ratty-looking place, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it always amazes me, dearie, that all these people who set themselves up as prophets never look like they made any.
Well, why look into the future just to see yourself starving to death? That'd be silly. Come on, it's time for my appointment.
Oh. Are you sure this man is a numerologist, McGee?
Sure, why?
Well, he ought to be an astrologer.
Huh?
40 more steps and he'd be within 10 feet of the moon.
I'll bet this is going to be a turning point in my life, Molly.
Oh, dear, you've had so many turning points already, you'll go down in history as Whirling Fibber McGee.
How do you do? I am Professor Cypher. Please to come in.
Now, look, Bud, my name is...
Please do not annoy me with trifles which I already know.
You know?
Certainly. You are Fibber McGee and wish to consult me because your life is out of harmony with the numerical vibrations of the universe.
Well, my gosh, you hear that, Molly? He knew who I was and why I came.
Well, you made the appointment in your own name, didn't you? And why should you come to see a numerologist? To get your tires recapped? I'm not particularly bowled over, dearie.
Perhaps when the lady sees the result of this interview, she will change her attitude toward the ancient science of the Egyptians.
I bet she will at that, Prof.
The only Egyptians I ever saw were mummies. If this undertaking is anywhere near as good as theirs, I'll buy it.
Please to sit down. Thank you. You may smoke if you wish, madame.
Thank you, I don't smoke. The cheaper vices don't appeal to me, sir.
Well, let's get at it, Prof, old sock. What have I got to do to vibrate 8 to the bar?
Mr. McGee, in every living person's life force, there is an immutable, unchangeable, unalterable pitch, a vibration.
That's what I've been telling him, Professor. All he has to do is get in there and pitch.
For each person, his fortune depends upon how closely he is attuned to his vibration.
Uh-huh.
If he is in harmony, good luck and health, wealth and happiness will flow about him.
Uh-huh.
I will advise you to change your name.
Huh? Change my name?
That's ridiculous. Why? He changed mine, and what good came of it?
Change my name to what, Prof?
Now, let me see. Where is my chart? Ah, yes. I would say perhaps 5 letters in the first name, 1 middle initial, and 5 letters in the surname. That would be 11. A prime number with no common divisor, but 1.
That's the stuff. We want no common ordinary divisors in our name, do we, dearie?
Well, what name would you suggest, Bud?
Well, for the first name, how about Homer? A fine old name in the classic tradition.
Homer, huh?
Yeah.
Homer. Sounds like a pigeon.
Doesn't seem quite right to call him Homer when he never gets to first base.
Yes, Homer will do splendidly for the first name. Now a middle initial. Say K. That's the 11th letter of the alphabet. And how about Frink for the last name? Homer K. Frink. Splendid.
Homer K. Frink. Homer K. Frink. Say, that ain't bad. Sounds kind of distinguished. Well, come on, Mrs. Frink.
Don't call me Mrs. Frink. You can be Homer Frink if you want to, but don't include me, dearie.
Oh, well, you'll come to it when you see how successful I'm going to be. How much I owe you, Prof?
$10, Mr. Frink.
$10.
He's been called a lot of $10 names in his day, Professor, but none like Homer Frink.
Madam, this is probably the greatest investment he has ever made. A mere $10 to lay the foundation of a fortune. For believe me, when he goes out into the world as Homer Frink, with his vibrations attuned to his rightful destiny, he'll regard the paltry sum of $10 as pitifully inadequate.
Well, I'll bet I will at that. Well, here you are, Prof.
Thank you.
Good day, Professor.
Good day, madame.
Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Homer Frink. Homer K. Frink. In tune with the universe at last. Lady luck, here I come. No more fumbling and stumbling.
Look out, McGee, the stairs. McGee, are you hurt?
No. Of course not. Thanks to Homer Frink. If I'd have still been Fibber McGee, I'd have busted my clavicle. Oh, my
heart. Molly Frink. Mrs. Homer K. Frink. No, I won't have it.
What's the matter, Molly? What you muttering about?
McGee, I don't want to be Mrs. Homer Frink.
Well, that's a distinguished name. I know a big newspaper woman in Chicago named Frink, and she's one of the finest...
I don't care. I'm satisfied just to be Mrs. Fibber McGee. And goodness knows why.
You haven't given Homer Frink a chance yet. I guess the professor knew what he was doing when...
Well, hello there, Johnny. Hello, daughter. Where are you bound for?
Oh, hello, Mr. Oldtimer.
And don't call me Johnny, you hear, old-timer? Call me Homer, or Mr. Frink.
Okay, Frank.
Not Frank, Frink. It rhymes with... Well, never mind what it rhymes with.
What's the idea, Johnny? I mean Frank.
I got my name changed by a numerologist, old-timer. With my new name, Homer Frink, my numbers are all in harmony.
He vibrates.
He does? Stand still a minute, Johnny, and let's see. Say, he does at that. Quivers like a E string.
It's just excitement over having his numbers in harmony.
Papa was in the numbers racket once, but he couldn't get into harmony with the police.
Well, this is different. This is a scientific thing.
I don't know about that, Homer. I knew a feller changed his name, the results was horrible. It was awful.
Yeah.
For a while, looked like he'd do all right. Then his luck went bad. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get hung or shot any day now.
Oh, my. What was his name before he changed it?
Schickelgruber. Well, I got to be running along, kids. Got to buy my girl Bessie some nuts. She's trimming a hat.
Trimming a hat?
What does she want the nuts for?
To put on the hat, daughter.
Don't be ridiculous, old-timer. What kind of nuts can you trim a hat with?
Forget me. Well, see you later, daughter. So long, homely.
Forget me nuts. That old muzzleloader not only don't know what it's all about, he don't even suspect. Come on, Molly. I want to see a couple of guys downtown on a business deal. Going to try my luck at Homer Frink.
Oh, McGee, I wish you'd give up this foolishness. I always go along with you up to a point, but this one is too sharp for me.
You just keep stringing along with me, baby, and you'll wear diamonds. You've been a good kid. One of these days you'll be proud to be Mrs. Homer Frink. How'd you like to own a big castle in Southern California?
Oh, my, that'd be simply ducky, dearie. I can hardly wait to see the happy peasants trampling out the orange juice.
Well, don't you be surprised if sometime...
Oh, look, McGee, here comes Mrs. Uppington.
Uh-oh, get a load of that strut. You think she'd get tired of following herself around?
Now, behave yourself. Abigail's a fine woman. Oh, hello, Abigail, darling. How nice to see you.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. McGee? And Miss McGee?
If you don't mind, Mrs. Uppington, please address me as Mr. Frink, Homer K. Frink.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, he's had his name changed by a numerologist, Abigail.
Oh.
He now vibrates in waltz time, but I'm sitting this one out.
I done it for luck, Uppy. Homer K. Frink has got the right number of letters to make me harmonize with the universe. You see, everybody's personality has got what you might call a different wavelength. And the professor says...
Oh, I see. Is yours a permanent or just a finger wave?
Well, either way, it's enough to curl your hair.
Okay. Scoff if you want to. Deride. But one of these days, mark my words...
Do you mean to say, Mr. McGee...
Frink.
Do you mean to say, Mr. Frink, that you believe this preposterous nonsense? Are you that superstitious?
Oh, indeed he is. He never even lets anyone throw a hat on a bed. My cousin Stetson came to visit us from Peoria once and had to sleep standing up for a week.
Okay. Have your fun, girls. Have your fun. But any scientist in the world will tell you that every living thing is regulated by vibrations. by the cosmic rhythm, by the waves that
Oh,
move.
really, Mr. McGee? I must tell my sister. She'll be so pleased.
Is she a scientist, Abigail?
No, she's a wave. Goodbye, Mr. Plunk.
Trouble with Uppington is she won't admit anybody knows anything but her. She's narrow-minded.
Well, give her credit, dearie. It's the only place she is narrow. Look at her walking down the street there.
Yeah. If she was taller and better looking, she'd be high, wide, and handsome. Well, let's go, Molly. I want to get these guys.
Oh, hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Hello there, Molly. How are you, Fibber?
I'm fine, Junior, but I'm not Fibber.
Well, that's... Huh?
I says I'm fine, but I'm not Fibber McGee. Like you evidently mistakenly think I am, evidently.
Yes. You have the dubious pleasure of speaking to Mr. Homer Frink, Mr. Wilcox. No relation to Benjamin Franklin or Franklin D. Roosevelt.
I don't get it.
Well, you see, Junior...
No, please. Let Molly explain it. I'm confused enough.
You were born confused, son.
Well, Mr. Wilcox, he went to a numerologist and got his name changed. He is now in tune with the universe, which isn't so hard right now because the universe is slightly off-key.
I vibrate to the right numbers now, Junior. I got rhythm.
Well, for anybody with as big a brass section as you've got, pal, it's a good thing. But I'm glad everybody doesn't believe in that stuff.
Why, Mr. Wilcox?
Oh, Molly. You shouldn't have ever asked him of that. That's like asking the insurance salesman what he's got in that briefcase.
Well, what I mean is, wouldn't it be silly of us to change the name of, say, Johnson's Car New, for instance, when it's so well known and liked everywhere as the automobile polish that cleans and polishes in one easy application?
See what I mean?
Why, when a name means as much to car owners as Johnson's Car New does, why, you'd as soon break a leg as change it.
Mm-hmm. You almost broke an arm reaching for that one, Junior.
But he's right, dearie.
Certainly I'm right. Why, if we changed the name of Car New, how could motorists know what to ask for when they wanted a product that was so thoroughly time-tested and customer-endorsed? A polish that's so simple and easy to use that a child could do it. That you simply apply, let dry, and wipe off with a soft cloth to get practically a showroom finish on your car. No, sir, we won't change the name of Johnson's Car New.
Well, look, Junior, I wasn't suggesting that.
It's no use, Fibber. It's no use. The Johnson people would never hear of it, and I don't blame them.
Doggone it, Johnson, I says I was...
No, 1,000 times no. Car New it is, and Car New it stays. And Racine is going to be pretty sore when I tell him you wanted to change it, too. Of all the ridiculous, stupid, fantastic ideas, to change the name of Car New, why, that's silly.
Your cosmic rhythm seems to have missed a couple of beats, dearie.
Shucks.
If Mr. Wilcox tells Racine you want to change the name of Carnu, your luck is really due for a change. And I don't mean good.
Doggone it, I didn't want to change any names. That guy's got 7 silver cups. He's one jumping to conclusions. I didn't mean to...
McGee, look!
Huh? Where?
Right ahead of us, there's a man lying on the sidewalk.
Oh.
Maybe he's ill.
Oh, looks kind of familiar, too. Oh. Hey, that's Wimple.
Wallace Wimple.
Did I hear someone call my... Oh, hello, folks.
Hi, Wimp. What's the idea of laying on the sidewalk?
Just self-defense, Mr. McGee.
Oh.
I thought I saw Sweetie Face coming down the street.
Yes, but how would lying flat on the sidewalk help in that case?
Well, she told me she was going to slap me wall-eyed as sure as I was a foot high.
Well, you're safe, Wimp. She ain't anywhere around here.
Thank you, Mr. McGee.
The name is Frink, Wimp. Homer K. Frink.
Oh, how do you do? Have we met someplace?
Well, Mr. McGee has changed his name, Mr. Wimple. A numerologist told him to, for luck.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I've got to hurry and meet Sweetie Face. She'll be horribly angry if I'm late.
What's the rush, Wimp?
Well, I'm meeting Sweetie Face at the Marines' pistol range.
Oh.
She's going to show them how she shoots a cigarette out of my mouth with a .44 pistol.
Oh, my goodness. Isn't that dangerous, Mr. Wimple?
Oh, no, silly girl. I never inhale.
McGee, I'm tired of walking the streets. Let's go home.
No, well, okay. I'll start out early tomorrow and test out my new name. Let's cross over here.
No, McGee. The red light is on. We have to wait for the green.
Oh, come on. We're not yokels. There's hardly any traffic. Here, take my arm.
All right, and the first truck to come along will take the other.
Hey, where do you think you're going? What's the idea of jaywalking? Don't you know it's against the law to cross on the red light?
Yeah, but sure. But gee whiz, officer.
Stop arguing. What's your name?
My name is Molly McGee.
It's McGee, huh?
Yes.
And a fine old name it is, too, McCushla.
Yes, indeed.
And what's your name?
Who, me? Oh, I'm Homer Frink. Homer K. Frink.
Well, never let me catch either one of you. What did you say your name was?
He said it was Frink. Homer K. Frink.
You don't say. Now, don't go away for a minute. Hey, Hennessy! Yeah? Call the wagon. I got Homer Frink.
Wait.
Why, you can't take him away in the wagon for crossing against the light.
I should say not.
That's the least of the things this bird is wanted for, lady.
Huh?
Homer K. Frink. Wanted in 7 states for arson, murder, bank robbery, forgery, swindling, parole violation, and bigamy. Keep your hands up there, Frink.
Now, look here, officer.
Shut up, you, or I'll take me stick to you. All right, make room there, all of you. This man is dangerous.
He is now.
I am, too. I will be if this big baboon don't stop acting silly. Now, you look here, officer.
Quiet,
If
here comes the wagon.
Gee.
Don't false move now, Frink.
Now, look, I didn't. Hey, Molly, get a lawyer. Call the mayor. Get me identified.
Don't worry, dearie. I'll straighten it all out. I'll see you later.
Don't leave me. Take your hand. That ratted for the 49th time, I'm telling you, I'm not Homer Frink.
Yeah, we know.
And get that spotlight out of my eye.
Leave me talk to him a minute, Chiefy.
Clancy, put down that rubber hose.
Yeah, put that down.
You know them things is ration, Clancy.
You guys are going to be sorry for this. When I get hold of the mayor, I'll...
Shut up, Homer.
Now, what were you saying about that stick-up in Boston, Homer?
I didn't say nothing about a stick-up, and you...
Maybe you'd like to tell us about that jewelry deal in Florida, or that Chicago job he pulled.
That batted, I tell you, I never... what's the use? All right, you guys. You want to hear about my Chicago job, do you? Well, I'll tell you about it.
Now you're talking sense, Homer. Write this down, Clancy.
Okay, Chief.
All right. So it was in the fur warehouse, see? I come in late at night, see? Must have been around midnight. $500,000 worth of furs in there, not a soul around, see?
How'd you get in? Through a skylight?
Skylight, he says. What do you think I am, crawling through skylights? I come in the front door.
Oh, had a key made, huh?
Sure, Chief. Homer's no punk. He knows his stuff. Now, let's see. Entered front door.
First thing I done was lock the door behind me, see? Then I took a good look around with me flashlight, see? Make sure there was nobody hiding no place, see?
Don't talk so fast, see? Look around. Nobody hiding. I got it.
All right. So the next thing I do, I ease over to the storage vault. It's locked, but that don't stop me, see?
It don't?
Nah. I got the combination all wrote down. I hauls it out of my pocket, opens up the vault, and strolls casually inside.
What a nerve.
It was nothing. I picks me out a bale of sables over in the corner. Drags a flock of ermine wraps over next to it. Curls up on it and takes me a nice long snooze.
You what? You lay down on all those furs and went to sleep?
Gee. Sure. I had to sleep sometime. I was the only night watchman they had. That was my job in Chicago.
For the... Frank, I got a good notion to poke you right on the cell and throw away the key.
Oh, yeah? Well, I know my rights, and you can't hold me here incognito like this.
You don't mean incognito, Homer. You mean incommunicado.
I never know such a thing, neither. Incommunicado is a fruit that grows in California.
Them's avocados.
I thought an avocado was a kind of a run on the piano.
That's obligado.
Len doggone it, what's incognito?
Incognito's when you use a different name.
A different name? I could think of a different name for you guys like you every 2 seconds for the next 400 years. And believe me...
Right in here, Doctor. McGee, dearie, are you all right?
Oh, sure, I'm fine. Nothing wrong with me, but that a short walk out the front door of this joint won't cure.
Yes. Well, I brought Dr. Gamble to identify you, dearie.
Oh.
We'll have you out here in no time.
Yeah.
Hello, Chief. Hello, McGee. Say, you got a mighty high color there, my boy. Been yelling your head off again, have you?
Of course I've been yelling. These flatheads are...
You know this guy, Doc?
Yes, I'm afraid I do, Chief. McGee, I've told you repeatedly about watching your blood pressure, about losing your temper. If you blow up someday like a nickel balloon and pop, don't say I didn't warn you.
How much you going to charge me for that? I didn't ask you to come down here, and if you think you're going to send me a bill for medical advice...
McGee.
Oh, I don't pay any attention to him, Mrs. McGee. I've warned him so many times about his blood pressure.
Yeah, at $3 a warrant.
Well, if you can positively identify this bird as McGee, Doc, we'll have to turn him loose.
And about time, too. I'm going to sue every one of your cops for false arrest and malpractice. There's going to be so many stars flying around here, it'll look like a planetarium.
Be quiet, McGee. Quiet.
Well...
How are you going to identify him, Doctor?
Well, if he has a birthmark or something.
She wasn't asking you. You bull-necked, cow-faced, steer-brain...
McGee!
I can identify him all right. Take off your shirt, McGee.
Doggone it, Doc. I hope I never meet you at 14th and Oak Street. I never seen you yet. I didn't have to take off something. What for this time?
Appendicitis scar. I operated on you, remember?
That won't prove anything, Doc. Too many people got appendicitis scars.
Not like mine. This ham-handed pill roller gave me a scar that if I ever have my face lifted, it'll show over my collar. There, you see?
Okay. If you guarantee this guy isn't Homer Frink, Doc, you can go.
I guarantee it. Come on, McGee.
Mind if I put my shirt back on first? Just a suggestion, of course.
I don't know why they ever made such a ridiculous mistake in the first place.
He said he was Homer Frink, lady. Look at this circular. Homer Frink is wanted for everything but the shooting of Dan McGrew. How'd you happen to pick that name?
He didn't. The numerologist gave it to him. Professor Cipher.
Professor Cipher?
Yeah, why?
He's my brother-in-law.
Huh?
I gave him one of these Frink circulars yesterday.
Why, of all the dirt... You mean he deliberately... McGee, where are you going?
I'm going to go back and see that professor. Print up another circular, Chief. Fibber McGee wanted for murder.
No, McGee, I was so worried when you ran out of that police station.
Yeah.
I thought you were really going to get that, Professor Cipher.
Yeah, I would have, too. But it took me 40 minutes to cross 14th Street, and by that time I'd cooled off.
Why couldn't you cross?
I was seeing red and couldn't tell when the light changed.
Oh.
Yeah.